Halloween Megathread 2022. Do you have a bag or basket, or do you use a pillowcase to collect your candy? My answer is I always used a pillowcase, holds more candy that way. What is a good Halloween costume for a 21-year-old couple in college? I have been stuck thinking about this with my partner for the last few weeks, so now I turn to you guys. I would prefer something that is not basic and overused. Those who've worked at the Halloween attractions, do you get bothered when someone doesn't get scared while you're attempting to spook them? What's an actually scary movie that's appropriate for kids? My son loves scary movies and the kiddie stuff isn't doing it anymore. He has challenged me to find a movie that will actually scare him, but nothing I can think of is appropriate. No sex/nudity, no extremely bad language. Or at least only parts that I can easily skip while watching with him. Thanks. Edit. To add, old school realistic creature effects would be a bonus. He loved Gremlins but thought it was funny. Edit 2, he's 7, but I'd appreciate suggestions appropriate for older kids as well. Just no adults only level stuff. What treats did that house have in your neighborhood growing up? We had a neighbor who gave out cans of soda and they were the best. What are some fun, inside the, smallish, house party games for a group of young adults? Trying to think of good ideas on a budget. Those who tend to have to work on Halloween, do you ever get to dress up or do anything particularly special on the job? For people who'd say Halloween is their favorite holiday of the year, what makes it that way for you over all others? Why do they always include candies most people don't like, such as Whoopers or Milk Duds, in Halloween candy bags? What's a popular Halloween movie that you somehow haven't managed to watch yet? Mine's Hocus Pocus. Why is it so hard to create an iconic scary guy like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers? What is the most dangerous item you've ever received whilst trick or treating? What are y'all being for Halloween? I'm going as Gomez Adams with my best friend as Morticia. So what do you think of the upcoming Callisto Protocol and Dead Space remake? What movies are you planning on watching for Halloween this year? What's the creepiest/supernatural Halloween experience you've had? Who was the oldest person you knew who went trick or treating? What's the scariest thing to happen on Halloween for you? What was the worst candy/item you ever received on Halloween? What is the best and worst part of Halloween for you? What is a great example of a necessary evil? Zoos. I hate the idea of large animals which would usually have large territories, tigers, rhinos, hippos, lions, confined to a small space. And I hate seeing animals with large intellectual capacities, elephants, large primates, dolphins, lacking stimulation. Unfortunately we as humans are failing them in the wild, at least in zoos with breeding programs they're kept safe and thriving. Prisons/jails. I am one of the loudest in lamenting prison abuse, but the fact does remain most people in jail are guilty of what they did, and a lot of them truly cannot function well in society. I grant there needs to be serious reform in how we treat prisoners, and even some preventative measures to try to save some, but it is true the unfortunate fact is some people do have to be locked away. We don't think about it but eating, in order for your life to continue something must die, plant, animal or otherwise. Things have to die for other things to live. We all constantly agree to the terms of this contract every time we eat. We don't want to die so we understand and accept that something else must. Death demands a sacrifice and if we don't oblige it takes us. Then something will eat us, grass, bacteria, animals, anything. Feeding back into the cycle that we once ate from ourselves. It's cruel, it's insane, and yet we never think about it as much as we should. Not buying from puppy/kitten mills. If you don't buy them, they're going to have a terrible quality of life, if they survive at all, but if you buy them, you're actively paying for the continuation of the breeding and putting more animals in that situation. It's a tricky situation and really tragic either way. A small loss of freedom in exchange for a massive magnitude of order life as any of us know it. All the technological advancements that make life longer, more pleasurable, and less dangerous all only can exist with some semblance of order. Anarchy is incompatible with society. The ability for the human body to feel pain. As exploitable as it is, without this ability to feel pain the life expectancy would go way down because people often wouldn't realize something was wrong with their body until it was too late to do anything about it. Pain is the body's natural defense mechanism to protect itself against further injury. Walmart. I get the whole big box thing pushing out smaller people, I really do. But when you're living on $850 a month you can't go to that mom and pop grocery store and spend $20 for a gallon of milk and 2 loaves of bread. Pest control. Mass slaughtering small creatures seems mean. I feel bad when whole colonies of adorable rodents or marsupials are injured or killed. But goddamn have rats really wreaked havoc on society and infrastructure. D villains. Hard to run a decent campaign without one or two of them. Edit. Thanks for the award. I used to run a home game with close friends and family so luckily I never had that problem player or a murder hobo party but never say never. I don't know, but in the Engineer Trilogy, a great low fantasy series in a weird Renaissance/medieval mashup world, they call their war department the Department of Necessary Evil, which I always loved. There are some people who many would think deserve the death penalty but I think should not receive it in order to preserve the principle of having no death penalty in case of wrongful convictions. Government. Freedom is beneficial for any society, but in order to function it needs some overseeing structure. Otherwise it descends into anarchy, which is associated with chaos for a reason. The bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Every military strategist agrees they probably saved tens of thousands of lives because Japan was gonna fight till the end of the country. Abortions. Nothing about it is cool. Nothing. It unfortunately is the lesser evil. It's incredibly sad that is the lesser evil but society needs a lot of fixing. War. War is hell. But if we all rolled over and let oppressors walk all over us, that would be far worse. A lamb can't kill a lion by behaving like a lamb. If you don't experience sitting down and being humbled, you're all the more likely to not only let success go to your head but to take things for granted. Hate to say it, but animal testing. No matter how many simulations we run, products still need to be tested before they're sold, especially medicines. The air in your bag of chips stops the chips from getting crushed on delivery. We all wish there could just be more chips, but you need that air. Being a soldier. You may not want to kill, but you are trained to. You might have individual ideals, but you hide them to fit into the machine. Sadness. You can't be happy all the time. It isn't healthy. You have to take the good with the bad. You learn to cope and move on from it. What's incorrectly perceived as a sign of low intelligence? Low self-esteem. People who don't believe in themselves have a tough time finding others who do. But just because someone doesn't believe in themselves doesn't mean they're stupid. It could mean that they have undeveloped talents, never grew up with encouraging people around them, or been putting their skills in the wrong direction. People tend to perceive others the way they perceive themselves. Being tall, blonde and muscular. Hear me out here. I've gone my entire adult life being constantly underestimated on an intellectual basis, based on the fact that I am basically a walking farm boy stereotype. For some reason, it's beyond most people to grasp the concept that someone can have both brawn and brains. I'm 6 feet 7 inches, try to pay mind to my physical form, and also have a PhD in behavioral psychology and a master's degree in mechanical engineering. But alas, the big and dumb assumption persists. Perhaps it's to help them feel better about themselves, who knows? Spatial issues. This very recently happened to me. I am a restaurant/hospitality veteran and was hired to be an AGM at a very hip place. My GM was nice, but someone I might qualify as a mean girl and quat. I have serious spatial issues when it comes to memorizing table and position numbers, and I am 100% upfront about it. I always tell people that I struggle with it for about a week, and when it clicks, it clicks. Well, 2 days and I was still not clicking, and she was rolling her eyes at me, and I overheard her telling a server I was an idiot. I still stuck it out, but by the time things clicked, literally 1 week in, I decided I did not want to work under such a mean person with no empathy. Not everyone's brains work the same, and I wish that was understood more often. Not having a recognized money-making brilliant talent and the degrees to back it up. Everyone is brilliant at something, but the vast majority of people aren't brilliant in the ways that are lucrative, and not all of us can afford to go to college to earn that special piece of paper that basically says, XYZ is smart, stamp. From very expensive frat party daycare. Asking a lot of questions. Also, many people love to think that they appreciate people who ask questions, but most all of them quickly turn into frustrated, impatient dicks after about 2 questions and start becoming short with the questioner, or they get defensive because they realize they don't have all the answers and feel personally attacked. Being wrong. I'm wrong all the time. What's actually a mark of stupidity is being wrong and then not having the humility to just say okay and learn from it. Being okay with being wrong is the foundation of all science. People that can never be wrong are insecure dipshits. It's an instant deal breaker. Anxiety. My God, it makes you do and say some really dumb stuff that any person looking in just regards as idiotic, but in that moment, you're either panicking like fuck or are stressing out so hard you cannot think rationally. People seem to think if you are rich with a good job you must be smart. Generally speaking, I've only met one rich person I would consider smart. The rest? Oof. I seriously wonder how some of them passed grade school. Lack of education. Intelligence is not the same as educated. You can be an uneducated yet highly intelligent person. On the flip side, you can also have a great education and still be dumb as a stump. Being bad with words, being a poor test taker, especially with standardized testing, excessive swearing, saying the fuck word and stammering don't say anything about how smart someone is. Autism and ADHD present with symptoms that make people think you're dumb. Really, you're just socially awkward, trying really hard but overshot and or couldn't properly process the task. Adding additions to my thoughts and correcting my points to better communicate my point. People take it as me changing my mind constantly. I just don't know how to explain it to them. Not or will not use proper etiquette, will not or cannot use proper language skills. Using base language such as yay I heard ya and apos. Or what did you want? Like SB with like ka. People who work in labor. It takes another level of skill and intelligence to build things well. Many people with high educations wouldn't even be able to do it right. Saying etc. It doesn't sound great to hear those words, but it can actually mean the person is very thoughtful in what they are trying to say. Swearing. That's despite studies actually indicating those who swear more often tend to actually have higher levels of intelligence. Stuttering/stumbling over words. Being inarticulate doesn't mean someone is stupid. Unfortunately, it can come across that way. Certain accents. People from the southern US or New York City can be viewed as ignorant just because of the way they speak. Humility to openly admit you don't know something or enough about something is seen that way for some dumb reason. Asking questions. How are people supposed to learn if they aren't allowed to ask and expect the correct answer?